In the news tonight, daily COVID infections surge past 800 again. There will be no dose mixing. And help on its way for St. John, Fiji. Bulabanaka, Fiji. Fiji's COVID-19 infection soared past 800 again yesterday, as 3 more deaths were recorded. The death of the 15-year-old from Dole Suba that was under investigation has now been classified as COVID death, making him the youngest person to die of the deadly Delta variant in Fiji. Christiana Uluwai joins us live now. Christiana, what is the ministry saying on the spike in new infections?
Well, Josiah, last night we crossed the 800 COVID case point yet again, and at this stage our infection rate is fluctuating. It decreases by 40% on one day, and then it increases by the same percentage on another day. And the World Health Organization also revealed last night that in countries where the Delta variant is present, they're seeing a spike, and it's causing a global spike of infection. In 104 countries that the Delta variant has been present, and this particular variant was the variant that started the outbreak that we are currently experiencing here right now, and it's because of the high transmissibility mutation in the Delta variant. And also the World Health Organization said that there hasn't been a spike in infection for at least 10 weeks, and this week is the 4th week that they've noticed a global spike in cases from across the countries that they've detected Delta variant. And the members of the public are advised to continue with the COVID-safe protocols and make sure to get vaccinated when they get the chance. Josiah.
Manaka Christiana. The Ministry of Health is ensuring that people don't mix the COVID-19 vaccine and get the same brand for both doses. Vaccination Task Force head Dr. Rachel Devi says there is nothing affirmative as yet because studies are ongoing in terms of dose mixing.
Individuals who have received their first dose of the AstraZeneca vaccine will get their second dose from the same manufacturing country.
If you've gotten the Covishield vaccine, which is AstraZeneca from India, your second dose will be Covishield from AstraZeneca, like Covishield, the AstraZeneca from India. We aren't even mixing manufacturing plants, although all vaccines in Fiji are AstraZeneca. It's just that they are produced in different manufacturing plants in different places like Australia.
Dr. Devi says they are keeping proper records to avoid any cross-vaccination.
We record batch numbers, we record all these necessary details, which tell us as healthcare workers what vaccine it is, where it came from, and all those necessary details.
She has once again assured Fijians that the AstraZeneca vaccine is safe and prevents deaths. Epidemiologist Fiona Russell says the benefits of the vaccine outweighs the risk.
The vaccine that you've got in Fiji, it's effective against the variant that's in Fiji at the moment. It's effective against the UK variant, highly effective, and it's also highly effective against the original Wuhan strain as well.
The ministry is continuing with its vaccination campaign and intends to establish drive-through sites in other divisions as well. Kritika Kumar, FBC News.
St. John, New Zealand has stepped forward to provide assistance to St. John, Fiji as we continue the battle against COVID-19. The assistance includes 4 land cruisers, assorted protective equipment and uniforms. The request was made by St. John, Fiji last week. These are the equipment and necessities that St. John, Fiji is in dire need of to boost its COVID-19 response efforts.
We are sure that these models will be more suited towards the more rugged and isolated environment of Fiji, particularly as they have a lower technology requirement and lower servicing requirements, meaning that Fiji is going to be able to use them for a longer duration.
Stewart believes the assistance will be a large injection to our fleet for the foreseeable future.
We believe that the health system is in need of some assistance, and so St John New Zealand is proud to be able to offer this assistance, but also we are aligning with other St John organisations throughout the world who are also sending aid.
In terms of the equipment stuff, this is exactly the same sort of equipment as we use on ambulances in New Zealand at the moment. This is a LifeVac 15 defibrillator monitor, and so it's got advanced monitoring capability, does ETG, blood pressure, pulse oximetry, as well as capnography and a bunch of other things to support people with respiratory problems.
St. John, New Zealand stands ready to offer more assistance where applicable. especially with the deployment of officers to assist St. John Fiji's frontliners. Another Australian medical assistance team will be arriving in the country to further boost the services provided by the Ministry of Health. Felipe Naikaso joins us live now. Felipe, how will this team complement the services provided by the first team?
Well, Josiah, with the COVID-19 numbers continuing to increase for Fiji, we will need all the assistance that we can get. So this multidisciplinary team that will be touching down tomorrow in Nadi around 1:30 p.m. is consisting of 17 personnel from Australia and New Zealand, and they'll be based in Suva for 28 days. The team will partner with the authorities to strengthen infection prevention and control at healthcare facilities. They will also support the emergency medical team to establish temporary surge healthcare facilities for the rapidly growing demand across Suva. Also, the 3 fully equipped ambulances will be donated tomorrow. And Josiah, in addition to all of this, Australia is also supplying oxygen equipment, some stretcher beds and personal protective equipments.
Naka Felipe. And to our latest COVID-19 update. Fiji's new COVID-19 infection soared again with 873 cases recorded for the period ending 8 a.m. yesterday. The Health Ministry also recorded 3 more deaths. Fiji has recorded 11,315 cases since April of this year. There are now 9,310 active cases in isolation, with 1,991 recoveries in total. The COVID-19 death toll now stands at 58. The vaccination campaigns also continues around the country as of yesterday. 362,969 or 61.9% of the population has received first dose of the AstraZeneca vaccine. 68,913 or 11.7% have received their second dose. The 5 most vaccinated areas include Ba, Lautoka, Suva, Seruana-Musi Province and Osore. Up ahead, more calls made for Fijians to get vaccinated. And a woman who allegedly created public alarm bailed. Welcome back. Strict protocols have been implemented at the Saunaka village in Nadi as COVID-19 cases continue to rise. The village is also into its 6th day of lockdown, following the 3 cases detected a few days ago. Felipe Naikaso has more.
With a few cases already in the village, the main objective now is to ensure it does not spread further.
We have set up 4 zones within the village that also have checkpoints. We have done this to ensure we protect our families during this pandemic.
Within each zone, a nurse is also on standby and provides daily updates to the village headmen. They have also mapped out a plan for any new infection.
We have the 2 cases in this bubble, and then from this bubble we have created a red zone mark which protect them from other community members outside the red area.
There are currently 30 primary contacts from Saunaka village in hotel quarantine and 10 secondary contacts under home isolation.
Right now, we are only allowing 1 person from a household to go out and do shopping, and 1 person only is allowed to travel in a vehicle where the driver and the vehicles we use are only from the village.
The village also conducts its own swabbing 3 days a week. Felipe Naikaso, FBC News.
Fijians have the key to containing the further spread of the COVID-19 virus in their hands. Leader of opposition Ratunengam Malaambalawu has called on all Fijians to unite and fight the virus by getting vaccinated and adhering to the COVID-19 restrictions. Lena Ruiz reports.
Joining other leaders around the country, the Tuivakau says Fijians know what they ought to do and is urging those eligible to get the jab.
I want to set the record straight that we can contain the spread of the virus if we support the current vaccination initiative. We all need to get vaccinated.
While commending the efforts of the frontliners, SODELPA leader Viliame Ngavoka is also making similar calls.
We need to get out of this, and it takes a community to work together to make it happen. So please don't sit back, come get immunized and practice what needs to be practiced to keep us safe.
Around 62% of Fiji's eligible population have received their first dose of the AstraZeneca vaccine. Lena Reese, FBC News.
A woman who allegedly posted videos in relation to COVID-19 vaccine appeared in the Suva Magistrates Court today. Andi Naniseva Sulele Budhango from Rewanga, Suva, allegedly posted the live videos last month condemning the COVID-19 vaccine, creating public alarm and anxiety. Jeshulal with the details.
The 49-year-old is charged with 5 counts of malicious acts contrary to Section 15A of the Public Order Act 1969. Budhango posted the live videos last month on different dates and also posted 2 videos on June 29th. She admitted in court today that the post she made created public alarm. Budhango has been ordered to deactivate her Facebook account and refrain from making any posts. She has also been ordered to surrender all travel documents and not to reoffend while on bail. Budhango has also been advised to nominate a fixed address. She has been released on $1,000 bail. The matter has been adjourned to September 6th for plea. Jeshulal, FBC News.
As a provider for young children, nothing means more than seeing them happy and safe. This was highlighted by Minister for Education Ruzi Akbar, who says sacrifices by the parents are endless. Akbar has called on parents, guardians and teachers to get vaccinated for their safety, the safety of their loved ones and children.
We must all now show our example to our young ones. An example of bravery, an example of courage, an example of responsibility, an example of resilience, and an example of solidarity. Please play your part as a patriotic warrior in this fight against a relentless enemy and get the jab. If not for your sake, then for the sake of our children.
Coming up in world news, Sydney stay-home order made stricter. And later in sports, Bauer blessed with the best.
Services in the Central Division will not be affected despite the emergence of COVID-19 positive cases at the Post Fiji headquarters in Suva. Chief Executive Dr. Aniruddha Bansord says they shut down for a few days, but the secondary team is now delivering postal services after decontamination. Josiah Nanunga reports.
As part of its business continuity plan, these secondary staff are now holding the fort after 3 staff tested positive.
We informed staff at GPO retail store and having some positive cases. So when we had these positive cases, we informed Ministry of Health. They came, they asked us to shut down the business for a while. That was last week, last week. And we did the contamination. We shut down the business for a while.
The retail shops. So this will be part of that exercise. When they open up in Suva, we will want to ensure that this equipment are used to sanitize.
Dr. Bansord says they are also upping the ante to ensure all staff across Fiji are fully vaccinated.
Saying that we also ensure that our vaccination drive become more aggressive, so more people start taking. We ensure that all the preventive measures, sanitization.
The company has also started home delivery services with stringent COVID safety protocols to be followed by both the staff and the receiver. Josiah Nanunga, FBC News.
Here are the local exchange rates as set early this morning. It was a mixed day for the Fijian dollar. It strengthened against our major trading partners, Aussie and the Kiwi dollars, and the euro and Japanese yen. It declined against the Chinese yuan, the US dollar, and the PNG kina. Onto the commodities market, crude oil declined to end at $74.36 a barrel. Gold rose by 20 cents, ending the day at $1,807.60 per ounce, and silver improved, closing at $26.37. We now join Sinifa from HFC Bank for the latest in the money market.
Good evening. The US dollar found support today ahead of US inflation data, with investors on edge over whether the figures may offer clues about the likely timing of tapering and interest rate hikes. Against the euro, the greenback held a small Monday gain to trade at $1.18, with a common currency also weighed after European Central Bank President Christine Lagarde hinted at a dovish shift to the rates outlook for Europe. Other majors were also largely steady, as markets await the inflation data due later tonight, leaving the US dollar holding modest gains against sterling, the Aussie and Kiwi dollars, and the Japanese yen. That's all for now from your HFC Bank, Vinaka.
6 months after Tropical Cyclone Yasa destroyed the main school building block at Mbua District School, construction of the replacement classrooms have been completed. Mbua District School is one of 3 schools in Vanua Levu that were badly affected by Category 5 cyclone in December last year. Eleanor Turangivi reports.
It took about 2 months to complete this temporary 1x3 classroom block to replace classrooms fully destroyed by Tropical Cyclone Yasa.
We have a new classroom building, nicely built, and we know it will improve learning for our children.
The destruction of the classrooms meant students had to learn in tents. When school resumes, students will be learning in the new classrooms.
There is another school close to Mbua District, and when classes resume, students from the other school will attend school here so we can make use of the new classrooms.
After hearing of the plight of the students affected by the cyclone, building contractors Bar Holdings donated a solar system for the school.
We thought of giving the solar system to the school and installing lights, and we built a wash bay for the students.
The temporary classrooms are built to withstand a Category 3 cyclone and cost government $130,000. Eleanor Turangivi, FBC News.
And that's the latest from my end, but coming up after the break. Extreme heat boils Canada's waters and shellfish.
Welcome back. Marine animals, including mussels and sea stars, have died after a record-breaking heat wave sizzled along Canada's Pacific coast late last month.
It's never smelled like this. Never smelled like this before.
A recent heat wave is turning some of Canada's Pacific waters into a graveyard. On Denman Island in the Bain Sound, mussels, clams and sea stars are being plucked fresh out of the water, but they're already baked to a crisp. In the surrounding Salish Sea coastline, tens of thousands of oysters and shellfish have also been found cooked to death. Oyster picker Dale Warren was shocked at the sight.
We knew the heat might have been bad, but we weren't expecting to see what we saw, or what we are seeing, definitely.
Joe Tarnowski owns Bain Sound Oysters, a business started by his father 65 years ago. He says this part of Canada's coast is known for its cool, crisp waters and ideal growing conditions for shellfish. But the changing weather can now only mean catastrophe for many like him in the industry.
Basically cooked the oysters, clams, mussels. Most of the mussels around here now are all gone. My clams, you can see the sand dollars and stuff, are all dead. Probably about between 30 and 40% of my oysters and the clams are a little higher. They really didn't like the heat.
A team of researchers estimate more than 1 billion marine animals along the coastline were killed by extreme temperatures after a record-breaking heat wave in June that also killed hundreds of people in the Pacific Northwest. According to one study, it's a heat wave that would have been virtually impossible without climate change. Scientists say climate change has made such a heat wave in the region 150 times more likely. They also warn that the extreme event could start occurring every 5 to 10 years by the 2040s if current greenhouse gas emissions continue. Another heat wave is expected to strike parts of Canada and the United States later this week.
After losing his job due to the pandemic, a Nandi man has not regretted this decision to venture into farming. Nitin Sharma of Namoli Back Road, Nandi, is enjoying every bit of farming as it also provides for his family. Felipe Naikaso has more.
Nitin Sharma spends most of his day at the farm, something he loves doing.
Yeah, it's good for, good for healthy, like, a good exercise, like everyday sweat coming out and having good energy from this.
The 53-year-old who stayed in the U.S. for almost 20 years says farming is nothing new for him.
Our parents were alive, we used to have a farm, so that's how we know how to do the farming. So still, like, this is a good way to survive for our family, like easy to get, sell the vegetables on the road, get some money for the foods.
He wakes up at 6 a.m. daily and works with his children on the 5-acre farm. They plant cucumber, lettuce, cabbage, watermelon and tomatoes.
Now I'm thinking this is the easy money. Nobody's my boss, my own work. Whatever time I want to work, stay home, take care of my farm, easy way.
Sharma says he is encouraging his children to venture into farming. Philip Naikaso, FBC News.
The Ministry of Education has launched a home learning video competition for primary and secondary school students. Minister Rosie Akbar says this is part of their efforts to make the home learning experience more engaging. Students will be required to produce a 90 seconds video on how they are continuing their educational journey during the pandemic. Akbar says videos do not have to be limited to formal home learning such as working on the provided educational worksheets. The videos can be in a form of dance, drama, role play, poetry recital and mock interview concepts.
I'd like to wish you the very best to all our children. Please continue staying home and listen to your parents and continue learning. To the parents, this is the time that you need to support your child in every possible way.
And now we join Benina with all the very latest in sports.
Thanks, Josiah. Good evening. Ahead in sport. And Team Fiji to stamp their mark. This and more coming up. Heading into the last few days of training, it's now down to mental fitness for the Fiji national men's sevens team. The defending gold medalists have a mammoth task ahead, and head coach Gareth Baber remains confident. After an impressive performance at Oceania Sevens, Baber says the level of competition at the Olympic Games will be higher.
The physicality, intensity we brought to the games, pressure we brought around restart and kick-off time, the attitude we showed to outwork our opponents who are, trying to outwork us every single time. That attitude that, you've got to be right in the fight in every single second of the game.
Team Fiji will be looking to stamp their mark at the 2020 Tokyo Olympics as the dates draw closer. While the team is currently in pre-camp in Oita City, Fiji Association of Sports and National Olympics Committee President Makarita Lenoa delivered a motivating message to the team last night. Lenoa reminded the athletes that they were there to serve a purpose, not as tourists, but to display the very best effort.
They are really just one body with different parts, playing different roles, but cohesively together and as one team.
Cricket Fiji will not let the pandemic hinder the national team's preparation for international tournaments. All Cricket Fiji sanctioned tournaments came to a halt 3 months ago and affecting the national team's preparations for the World Qualifiers. Acting Chief Executive Sitiveni Rokoro says they're working around the clock to ensure that players are fit before the season starts in October.
At the moment, during this pandemic, we are not able to train our national training squad as well. But the coaches are working very hard in trying to identify the players and give them their training schedules to follow, to keep them fit and in preparation for the tournament.
That's it from Sports Tonight. In the world of the weird and the wonderful, a Ukrainian woman makes hyper-realistic human flesh jewelry. Details after the break.
Mostly sunny conditions prevailed. A trough of low pressure that lies to the south of Fiji is expected to start affecting the group from Wednesday. In the west, mostly humid with few scattered showers later afternoon. Eastwards from Pacific Harbour to Suva, mostly sunny and humid conditions prevailed. Up north, mostly cloudy and humid. Cool conditions will remain at night. At sea, moderate to fresh easterly winds, moderate to rough seas. Turning to the tide, the next high tide is at 9:21 p.m. with low tide at 3:11 tomorrow morning. Sunrise will be at 6:38. For tomorrow, some showers over the southern eastern and interior of the larger islands. Outlook for Thursday, cloudy periods with isolated afternoon showers expected. In Vision Pulse, we ask, how are your children coping with learning at home?
The only thing I have to say about my kids at home, they are doing well with their schoolwork and what the government has done for them, like worksheets.
My kids are really coping well with their studies at home, with the assistance of the government that they have actually distributed the worksheets out on Fiji's Sun, which has helped them with their studies at home.
Ministry has given an opportunity for the kids to learn, and they are doing very well, I think so, into their studies.
Recapping our main stories, daily COVID infection surge past 800 again. There will be no dose mixing and help on its way for St. John, Fiji. For these stories and others, you can tune in daily to our sister radio station, Gold FM. To our poll question this week, we're asking, do you agree with the no jab, no job policy? Visit our website to take part. Send us newsworthy pictures and videos. Email fbcnews@fbc.com.fj or share it with us via our various social media accounts. You can also download the FBC app to keep updated with the very latest in news, sports, and listen to our 6 radio station live. That's your news this evening. Until next time, take care. Mother Manda.